of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening. This regular meeting of the Township Council is being held in accordance with the scheduled meetings of the Township Council established and adopted by the Township Council, which schedule designated time, date, and place of this meeting. Adequate public notice of this meeting has been provided pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act. We are using an electronic amplifying recording device in order to obtain a clear and audible record, and we request all those wishing to speak to be recognized and state your name and address directly into the microphone. The recording device will be solely utilized by the Township Clerk's Office for the preparation of minutes. It shall be the official record of the Township Council meetings. Madam Clerk, may I have the roll call, please?
Mr. Hutchison.
Present, and seated to my left is Associate Councilman Jay Young.
Present.
Mrs. Stubbs. Present. Mrs. Winters. Here. Mr. Mignon.
Here.
Mrs. Strada. Here. Mr. Mercado.
Present.
Mr. Carlemere.
Here.
Mr. Curtis.
Here.
Mr. Lechner. Chief Harkins.
Here.
Mr. Chadwell.
Here. Before we go into the public portion, tonight we are joined by representatives of the New Jersey Boy State and Girl State programs. Back in October, council was invited, mayor and council were invited to attend Post 281's American Legion's presentation of the individuals that attended Boy State and Girl State. For those that are unfamiliar with the Boy State program, this is a program that is run through and supported by the American Legion. I got a little background on this. They create a mythical 51st state, 51st state that's organized and administered for citizen training purposes under the auspices of the American Legion, Department of New Jersey. This has been held since 1946, and what it does is it educates our youth in the duties, privileges, rights, and responsibilities of American citizenship. There's a complete program of educational recreational activity that's provided. In the Boy State, they have a concert band, and these guys love the concert band. They'll tell you a little bit about it as we go on. A newspaper is published daily, and a portion of each afternoon is given over to organized program intramural athletics under supervision with outstanding speakers and specialists that contribute to rounding out the session. So they have three phases during Boy State and Girl State. There's seminars, functional activities, and general assemblies. And these general subjects, there's general subjects that are held in government, law enforcement, legislative, and election procedures. What I was excited about is when I was at the Post and they were talking about their experiences and the elected positions that they had and how they had to campaign and gather votes. And it was very interesting to me that they were so excited about the governmental process and the political process and trying to further their particular community. So the funds for operating the program for Jersey Boy State, they're obtained by charging the sponsor, which is usually the Post, and will sponsor for a nominal fee for the week. And it's held at the alma mater of Daniel Hutchinson Rider University. That's where they have Boy State, and Girl State is held at Jordan Court in, I guess, Ocean County. Lakewood, Ocean County. So I just want to go and we'll start to my left. If you could tell us your name and what positions you held when you were at Boy State and what school you attend.
So I'm Chris Giuliano. I attend Timber Creek Regional High School, and my highest position was state party national executive committee. So we formed policy for my political party, as we all were assigned political parties while we were there. That was one of the key factors of garnering votes. Other than that, I did hold city councilor after a special election once one of the councilors went to state assembly, vacating their position at the city council. I also was ward leader and city and county party leader as well.
He's a Timber Creek senior. He's also the varsity lacrosse captain, part of DECA, and he also helps out with the ELL program at Lilly School, which is the English Limited Language program. Welcome, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Okay. To the right of the council vice president is,
My name's Greg Gladys. I go to Highland Regional High School, and the only position I had at Boise State was election board official, which was where I worked the machines, like counted the votes for each election, and announced who won each election.
Greg, what else are you involved in Highland?
Well, I'm president of student council, history club. What else am I president of? It's a lot, but just to say I'm very involved. I play lacrosse, and I'll probably be a varsity starter this year. And the student rep for the board of education meetings for my school.
Okay.
And what else do I do? That's pretty much the top.
Now, if I recall, it may have been you, that you ran for a bunch of offices. Okay.
And I lost them all.
Okay, it's all right. So, well, thank you for coming, Greg. To my left,
Hello, I'm Michaela Jackson, and I go to Camden County Technical School. The highest position that I had was county freeholder, where I worked with the county executive, and I think that's it.
you were also city attorney, and that's why
Oh,
I placed it.
city
This is
attorney.
our attorney
Oh,
who keeps us in line. So you kept them in line during
yeah,
the
during
meetings?
our meetings
Okay.
and stuff.
All right. What else do you do at Camden County Technical School?
I'm captain of my robotics team at that school, and trying to think what else. I do my acapella choir at school, and I'm first chair for saxophone. There's a few other things. Oh, and I do track too.
Okay, very good. Thanks for being here, Michaela.
Hello, I'm Dylan Steele. I go to Timber Creek Regional High School. I started off as a city councilman, then I was elected as a county freeholder. So I was trying to figure out all the countywide problems rather than focusing on the citywide problems. So at school, I'm the NHS president, so I get to deal with everyone that wants to be volunteers in school and in the community. I'm varsity swim. I'm a starter for that, as you can say, there's a starter for swim. I also participate in my school's acapella choir. First chair for clarinet in my school band. I participate in the theater club. I used to be part of the Democratic Club, but that kind of phased out a little bit. Other than that, that's pretty much what I do.
He is also applying to the United States Air Force Academy.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, so hi, my name is Jamin Young. So I go to Timber Creek Regional High School, and I'm a senior there. So when I went to Boise State, I remember, just basically losing every single election. And in short, it was a little bit heartbreaking to me, but I learned to, to get other jobs as well. So at Boise State, I think I was a mail boy basically, and I was also the medical examiner of my city. So I guess you can say that, with Boise State, kind of taught me about, losing a lot, but, learn how to get back to it.
Thank you, Jamin.
So in terms of, what I do around the school, I am the VP or Vice President of the NHS Club, so I'll be backing my main man, volunteer over here, with all the problems with NHS and how we facilitate students coming into the organization. Not only that, I'm also part of the concert and jazz ensemble of my high school. I am first trombone, and as of right now, I am also involved with Rowan's Science of Medical Science Academy. So, and I think my dream is, to become a doctor so I can give back more to the community.
Thank you, Jamin. Allure.
Hi, my name is Allure Gray. I attend Camden County Technical School as well. Back at Girl State, I was the city secretary. I was also the county representative for the Poppy Memorial Ceremony, and I also did columns for the newspaper. A little bit about school. Back at school, I'm in NHS. I'm in robotics. I started off with the public relations, and I switched up to spirit, so I made sure that the team spirit is all right. Being in my school, now that I'm a senior, I'm in senior options, so therefore I go to Camden County College, and I get credits from there. There, I'm in the Women Empowerment Club. I'm in the Veterinarian Club because that's where I want to be when I grow up. I'm also in the Health Club, and I'm in World Culture as well, and NHS.
Thank you, Laura. I'll just throw this out there if anyone wants to answer. I know some of the answers because I was at the program, but what was the best part of the week that you experienced? If anyone wants to chime in.
Do you want to say it or you want me to? The band. We all expressed our admiration for the band at the meeting in October. So basically the band, you signed up the first day. I personally was not a part of it, so which makes my perspective, I would say, unique. But Dylan and Jamie were, and their ability as a band as a whole to come together and really sound really good, even on the Wednesday before their big performance on, correct me if I'm wrong, Friday, was, I would have never expected it. It really did kind of prove that we were some of the best in the state for, all talented musicians. So, I think it was important to see that.
Anyone else? Oh,
I guess
ladies?
I guess I'll go.
Freeholder?
Yeah. So definitely the friends that I made there, because the first election that I did was the city senate, and I lost that, and that really brought my confidence down. But they convinced me to do county freeholder, so that definitely helped a lot with all the friends that I made there, and I still talk to them now.
Anyone else?
I'll add something. I mean, besides the band and the people, if you're going more into how Boys Day was, it's definitely the election process and the whole campaigning process, because a lot of people that I've met in my city, they started off and they were alternates, so they were chosen as a second choice as the first person to show up. And so a lot of those people didn't have public speaking skills, and they're afraid to go up and talk in front of people. And from the very first day, you can see every time they went up, they had a lot more confidence in talking in front of everyone that they were talking to, even if it was now at a county level where they're talking to completely new people. So the election process was quite amazing, because you can see the change from someone who's afraid to get up and talk in front of people, and all of a sudden they're like a natural.
Laura?
I would say it definitely kept you on top of your game, because not many teenagers are going to say, over the summer I'm going to wake up at 6 in the morning for a week straight. As far as that, yeah, I definitely think Michaela's right. As far as the friends, every girl was supportive. I never met personally any mean girl. Every single girl there was, hey, you got this, go for it.
So yeah, I want to abbreviate on both of these points right here. So I definitely think that with the Boys State experience, you do meet a lot more people, and you get to know each other more and more as the week progresses. I think one of my favorite parts of Boys State was definitely the court cases, because I think that's when we just basically let ourselves go loose. We had so many wacky scenarios that we had to basically decide on a verdict, and I think ultimately that's probably one of my funnest and most memorable experiences of Boys State.
Thank you. One of the things that I had gathered when I went to that event, and then even walking today, was the four that I had met at Boys State. 3 of them go to Timber Creek and 1 go to Highland. But how close they were, and just interacting about their experiences. So it gives me great hope for our future in government and in politics. And I want to thank you for being here today. You're going to help us run the meeting. You may have to help Mrs. Stubbs or Mr. Carlin or Mr. Hutchinson over there with his wardrobe, Laura, and as we run our meeting. Okay? So with that, we'll open up the first public portion. Anyone wish to speak on agenda items only, please raise your hand. Mr. Crew.
Good evening, Township Council, Paul Krug, Blackwood Estates.
Good evening.
A couple of points of interest. The bid report for the rehabilitation of Lakeland Park Street hockey rinks. Was interested in a little bit more information on what that rehabilitation entailed, because I looked at the 2 reports and they differed substantially in the bid, one by almost half.
Mr. Cars, you addressed it.
It's my understanding that it was
was a base bid for one of the rinks, in which they would need to also raise the sides of the rink in order to put what is somewhat like a jigsaw type material. There were platforms that would be joined together, and that was the preference of the hockey rink. So that was, I believe, the base. Michelle, if I'm wrong about this, correct me.
No, I believe you're right.
And then as an alternate, there was the resurfacing of one of the other rinks. So there are 3 rinks out there, and 2 of which were in need of resurfacing. So that's what we're looking at here. And by the way, this is just the acceptance of these bids. I have to talk to Mr. Carliner about these bids because I have some concerns about the actual bids themselves and whether or not we're going to move forward with them.
Okay, makes sense. Is the base for both rinks and the alternate is for one rink?
Yes.
Is that the understanding?
No, the base is for one, including raising the sides of the rink, and the other is for the other rink. Am I correct, Michelle?
That I'm not positive.
Yeah, I believe that's the case.
Okay, understood. Thank you. For the first reading, the tax abatement, I was interested where block 9708 lot 1 was located.
This is the complex that's here to the right, past the Bank of America on Choose Landing Road. So it
Okay.
goes from the senior facility going down to Victory Rehabilitation Services. So that it's in that area there.
Okay, and the tax abatement is being given to bring one of those buildings up to a better standard?
Well, tax abatement will be on the improvements of that particular site. Our tax assessor is here today, Mr. Palumbo. If Mr. Palumbo wants to add to that, he's more than welcome to. Thank you, Mr. Palumbo.
No problem. The abatement is a phase-in of the building value. So they pay taxes they pay taxes on the land, but they also pay taxes as a phase-in of the.
As they upgrade the building?
Well,
and
it's finished.
Oh, okay.
It is finished, so it'll be phased in over a period of 5 years. It's an incentive for them to build and get tenants.
Okay, understood. Thank you. And then final question, with resolution 324 and 325, there's the language of securities. I just hadn't seen that particular language in resolutions before. Can you kind of explain what securities means in that particular resolution?
Bear with me for a second, Mr. Cooper. Normally, it's a performance guarantee of bonded items. This was established in the amount of $194,364, and it was reduced to $58,000. They go through a punch list, the engineer. So this was a updated performance guarantee reduction. And then there's a performance guarantee release that was established in the amount of $693,135. Once again, this is due to, it's a maintenance guarantee. You want to add to that, Mr.
No,
Carter?
that's correct, that's right on point. Once the resolution for the performance is completed, then there's an inspection done, and then usually a maintenance bond for 2 years is put into place.
Okay, so the developer puts up secured collateral for the project, is that the understanding?
Any of the improvements that the township benefits, off-site improvements at the municipality, curbs, sidewalks, those things, that sewer lines, and improve the community as part of that development. This is the development that's been out there for a bit of time, I imagine. So
Okay,
once
so-
that's complete, then our engineer signs off on it, and then we can release the performance guarantee, because all the performances and improvements are in place. Then there's a 2-year maintenance guarantee that's put on there.
Understood. For the reduction in security, when it goes from, I think it's around 190 to 60, does that mean that the developer did not hit certain thresholds and that's why you see the $100,000 reduction there? Or what does it mean when it says a reduction
Normally,
in
during the
securities?
different phases of a construction, I don't know what particularly applies here, but as the developer goes through the process of development, he completes one phase or one aspect of it, he can ask for the performance guarantee to be reduced because that phase is now being completed. So what happens, the township engineer does an inspection, or the engineer that's performing that. It indicates that all those improvements were put into standards, and you can reduce the security because it's there. So as the project goes on, it reduces his securities, which is like an insurance policy that he's paying for, so his premium drops. So, and that's permitted by statute.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Anyone else? Mr. Polidoro.
Good evening, Council. Ray Polidoro from the historic village of Ariel.
Good evening.
Mr. Mercado, would you allow me to welcome the
absolutely.
coming? I listened to some very impressive resumes and actions that you guys have taken. And the one thing I heard was a little disappointing is that losing got somebody's spirit down. When you lose a position, it still allows you greater latitude to advocate without limits and borders. So you may be able to do even more. And that may be at another time that your calling is for that position. So don't ever let it get you losing. You get stronger by it, and you know that. My question is on the bid proposal for the rinks. And I know that you all know that I have played hockey my whole life. I've coached hockey, and I am hockey. So it doesn't, my question doesn't regard the hockey itself. But the raising of the boards that you were referring to, is that to redo portions of the sports court, which I believe that surface is, or the whole sports court surface?
It involves one rink in particular.
Okay. The rink that you're talking about, is that the original rink, or is that one of the upgrades when we invested into expanding that complex?
I have to get back on that. I'm not sure.
Okay. The reason I ask is we did put a great deal of investment into that. And if it is one of the new rinks, I got to believe that that sports court would have some type of warranty given, whether it's outdoor or indoor. They do carry different warranties. I'd be interested in knowing.
I believe it's been some time since that was done.
Then I would have to call into question maybe the workmanship on that, because if some rinks hold up, and again, I'm very familiar with the surface itself and what is entailed to doing it outdoors and the different sealants that are used to keep that, as you accurately put it, those jigsaw puzzles together throughout that. And if we're going to go through this and spend more money on that, that we look and see that the quality of work is upgraded so that it will be able to withstand the outdoors and the cold and the heat. And obviously when we get rain and we get cold, those pieces are meant to move like a bridge is with an expansion to be able to do so. That's all that I'm asking, is that we look out for the workmanship and the quality's there, because it only takes one tile to lift for someone to get hurt. And I'm glad that we're staying on top of that, but also let's look at the workmanship and make sure that our money is well invested.
Tom, can we see if there is a warranty?
Yes.
Okay, I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. And again, welcome to all of you.
Thanks for your kind words, Ray, for our students. Anyone else? Seeing none, close the first public portion. Oh, you gotta hit that hard. Okay. Greg, I might have to have you do the clock soon. Okay. All right. So, bid report.
Rehabilitation of the Lakeland Park street hockey rinks.
Entertain a motion
So moved.
Second.
on the question. Roll call, please.
Mr. Hutchison,
Yes.
Mr. Owens,
Yes.
Mrs. Stubbs.
Yes.
Mrs. Winters.
Yes.
Mr. Mignon,
Yes.
Mrs. Strada,
Yes.
Mr. McConnell.
Yes. Ordinances, first reading. We have ordinance 0-19-17. It's ordinance authorizing the execution of tax abatement agreement between the Township of Gloucester and Choose Landing LLC for premises block 9708, lot 1, CO 300, located at 1387, 1389 Choose Landing Road, pursuant to C 441 PL 1991 NJSA 40A 21-1 et sec, in ordinance number 0-19-16. This is a tax abatement for a 5-year period for Choose Landing LLC. Again, this is on the improvement of that particular property. There is not a public hearing for that. That will be held at our second reading. I entertain a motion to.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Hutchinson. Thank you, Mrs. Stubbs. On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Mr. Owens?
Yes.
Mrs. Stubbs?
Yes.
Mrs. Winters? Yes. Mr. Mignone?
Yes.
Mrs. Schroeder? Yes. Mr. Mercado?
Yes. Next, we have a resolution, the consent agenda. Any council member that would like to have any item removed, please speak up. Hearing none, I entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Hutchison. Thank you, Mr. Owens. On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Mr. Owens?
Yes.
Mrs. Stubbs? Yes. Mrs. Winters? Yes. Mr. Mignone?
Yes.
Mrs. Schroeder? Yes. Mr. Mercado?
Yes, we did receive one GTE Gov Access email. So for our guests tonight, if people cannot make a meeting, sometimes they'll send an email to us. We'll read their question here and then respond to it accordingly. So this is from Gerald Dunleavy at 82 Highland Avenue, Sicklerville, New Jersey, 08081. Question for council. I have in recent past complained about the goose problem in this township. I received information on dealing with geese and all the paperwork. You think this is from Boy State, don't you guys? No, anyway, no. It sounds like a situation? Okay.
It does sound like
All right, with geese and all the paperwork and licensing issues involved with lessening the population that has skyrocketed. The problem is beyond a normal citizen's ability to deal with it effectively at all. I live in the Clementonia section of Gloucester Township, and the other day saw at least 200 to 300 geese on the lake across the street from my property. The problem is out of control, and strong measures need to be taken to lessen the current population. One or two people going out and looking for nests is not going to solve the issue. I would appreciate action instead of inaction, as I know other townships in the state have dealt with the soaring goose populations. Thanks for caring. We had geese chasers. Is that the name of the the vendors that come out? Can you shed a little bit more about that? Our efforts.
Yeah, our initial problem. The problem that was most glaring were the effect the geese were having on the new turf fields that we put in. And so a decision was made to obtain quotes, and we did that. Geese chasers gave us the best deal. And basically what they do is they alternate and vary the times that they bring out border collies. And those border collies apparently disturb the geese to the point where they leave the area. Now, they can't bring the border collies back on a routine schedule, like every afternoon at 3 o'clock, because then the geese get used to it, and they actually change their behavior, and they still become a problem. So you'll see that this vehicle pull up at different times during the day. It covers Gloucester Township Community Park, the two fields that we have there, the football field and the soccer field. I don't know that we've had the problem with the lacrosse field and the field hockey field. They may also be covering that. They're also covering the volleyball complex and the fields there, the lawn soccer field.
Okay. Thank you very much. We'll now open up our second public portion. Anyone wishing to speak, please raise your hand. Mr. Krug.
Paul Krug, Blackwood Estates. Since the last time I was able to attend a council meeting, several of you have won the elections, so congratulations. But I did want to remind council, and I did have this speech after the primary, where I talked about changing perspectives, because the election does solidify a continued Democratic council in a Democratic county in a Democratic state. And it's representative, obviously, because the elections told us so, but I think it's important to also consider the minority perspective in this township, in this county, and in this state. So if you can shift your mindset a bit to look at things from the other side, I think it would be beneficial to all. In addition to that, we have Thanksgiving coming up, and I wanted to say that I'm thankful for all of you and the service you provide to our township. I'm also very thankful and excited to see these young men and women who are exercising their civic duty And I also want to give a big thank you to some of my neighbors who show up here on a consistent basis because it's a very part of the fabric of this country. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, we'll close the second public portion. All right. Polling of directors.
Mr. Carliner?
Nothing to report.
Mr. Cordis?
Wish everybody a great Thanksgiving.
Chief Harkins?
Just want to wish everyone a safe and peaceful Thanksgiving.
Mr. Chadwell?
Report, thank you.
Mr. Hutchison?
I'd like to say that I'm very impressed with everything I heard about the resumes for all the young people who are sitting up here with us. But I also would like to point out kind of what Paul was saying. It's wonderful that citizens would come here. And tonight you heard two individuals speak. Paul asked three very good questions. And Ray also brought up good issues. And that's very important for democracy to work. So thank you, guys.
Mr. Owens?
Thanks for coming out tonight, Chief. Thanks to your men and women of the police department for keeping us safe. To the men and women on the dais, congratulations. Keep up the good work. One day you'll be replacing all of us up here. And happy Thanksgiving to everyone.
Mrs. Stubbs?
Happy Thanksgiving to everyone. It's always a joy to see youth striving for the best that they can be. And we all know in the future that's going to be, as you said, God supporting us. So it's really appreciated that you're here and taking an interest in our futures. And thank you everyone else for coming out. Happy Thanksgiving.
Mrs. Winters?
I too want to congratulate you guys on your achievements. It's, amazing to see some people so young achieving so much already. So imagine where you're going to get to in life. And like Ray said, there's nothing wrong with losing. You learn from it and you grow from it and you move on and you accomplish bigger and better things as a result. Happy Thanksgiving and everybody be safe.
Mr. Leon?
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. And I also want to congratulate the men and women that are sitting up here. And also, like as Ray said about losing, it is a great teacher. In 2012, my team lost in districts, and I made sure that wouldn't happen again. And the next year, we came back as state champions. Also want to say to Christopher here, my son played hockey with Christopher. He's a hard-nosed hockey player. He's also in class with him right now. Greg, don't worry about the losing. Jamin, 5 years ago, I coached you in baseball. I remember one time on the major league field, I'd asked you to pitch. And you told me I'd never pitched before, Coach Mike. And your father said to me, what are you doing? I said, I'm putting him in to pitch. Guarantee he strikes this batter out. 2 Gatorades was the bet. I won the bet. You struck him out. Good job. Keep working hard. Thank you all.
Mrs. Strada?
Thank you and congratulations to the young men and women up here tonight. I don't think I can add anything else to what my colleagues have said. Keep up the good work and it's great representation of the Gloucester Township and Camden County area. And Paul, thank you for the congratulations and your words are heard and thank you. And happy Thanksgiving to everyone.
Mr. Mercado?
Before I give my comments, I'm going to give our other elected officials an opportunity. They want to say goodnight or add anything. So I'll start with the party ward leader and city councilor, Mr. Giuliano.
How y'all doing? I just want to thank everyone for being here tonight. It's a pleasure to be up here. I would hope that Mr. Ray in the back would remember I sat next to Councilman Winters when I was in 8th grade up on this dais tonight, or 4 years ago, excuse me. It's great to be back, and I'm happy to continue that. To everyone else up here, you guys are setting a great example, and it's a pleasure to see democracy in action.
Thank you, Mr. Giuliano. Elected board official, Gladys.
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank you all for the opportunity to be up here tonight. It was a good experience and great to see how everything works. And happy Thanksgiving, and I hope everybody has a good one, and very peaceful, and have a good time with families.
Thank you, Mr. Gladys. Freeholder, Jackson.
So I just want to thank everybody for this opportunity. It was really great to see a real life example and not a mythical example of what government can be like and what city council can be like. And just wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving.
City council member and county chairman, Mr. Steele.
I want to say thank you to everyone that with the kind words for us being up here. I actually did really enjoy this. It's kind of interesting to see what actually goes on. So I never knew what actually happened around here. Just knew that stuff happened. So I really appreciate the kind words and allowing me to come out here.
Thank you, Mr. Steele. Health advisor and postman, Jamin Young.
Well, thank you for having me here. I definitely learned a lot from this city meeting. I want to give special thanks to American Legion Pulse for setting all this up, for sending us to Boise State and allowing us the opportunity to express our views and learn about how our democracy, works on a city level, on a county level, and on a state level, etc. Again, thank you all. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Mr. Young. And City Secretary and County Rep, Ms. Gray.
Again, thank you, everyone. It's nice to have a real life example outside of Girls State of it was really encouraging words. Don't really fall back if you lose. And have a good night and a good Thanksgiving.
I want to thank everyone for coming out this evening. And thank you to the Post 281, for supporting our young men and women. That was the first time I attended that event, and I'm happy I went. I got to meet some outstanding students there. I shared with them my story of when I got called into the guidance counselor's office before my senior year, and they said, there's this program called Boise State. And I went in, there was 2 other students that I played football with, and I threatened them, like, you better go, because I was the alternate. And I knew nothing about this, just like the trepidation of, it's the week after school ends. They wanted you to wear khakis and polos, and you had to wake up at 6 in the morning. I was like, no thanks. Then I realized what a wonderful opportunity I missed out on. But I appreciate the stories that you shared that evening and this evening. And again, that's all possible because of Post 281. So thank you to the men and women of the Post. Thank you. A couple announcements. The Blackwood Christmas Parade is on Saturday, December 7th at 6 o'clock in downtown Blackwood, followed by the following day, the tree lighting here at the park in the late afternoon going into the evening. And then if you have small children or just want to see Santa, the Santa brunch is December 14th at the Rec Center. I wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving, a safe Thanksgiving, and traveling mercies for anyone that is traveling over the holiday break. With that, I entertain a motion to adjourn. Is there a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion, meeting adjourned. All right, thank you. All right.
Good job.
It's all good. Hey, Ray, happy Thanksgiving. Sure.
Cool. This one, all right, we'll do. You too. Happy Thanksgiving.
Great Thanksgiving.
And?
All of it? Yeah.